Okay, everyone, it's 11 o'clock on the dot, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know it's the holiday weekend, so thank you for being here on Pfizer on a Friday before the holiday weekend. I really appreciate it. So we have Councilmember Hancock here and Councilmember Jurinsky as well. We have no consent items. Councilmember Jurinsky, Councilmember Hancock, do you approve the minutes of May 6, 2025?
I approve.
Okay. Councilmember Hancock? Okay. All right, we'll move those forward and I approve them as well. Federal legislative update, Lori.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Okay, I'm going to start off with the House budget reconciliation bill. Over the past few weeks, each of the House committees have been marking up their text. They were given, each committee was given amount of money that they could spend or cut based on what the budget resolution that was passed by the House and Senate late last month. It took several weeks to get this done. It's a very large bill, as you've been reading about in the press. There was this past week, the president met with both the moderate Republicans and House conservatives, lobbying them individually and as a group to help get their support for this bill. And then yesterday, last night, the House finally passed it. And it's called the One Big Beautiful Bill. And it was passed by a narrow majority of 215 to 214. There are a number of provisions that are going to be helpful to the city and that you have lobbied on before. And then I'll talk about some concerns as well. This bill still has to pass the Senate, and a number of Senate Republicans have been voicing concerns over some of these provisions. So this is definitely not the final bill. So the first one is the bill leaves the municipal bonds untouched. So you can still utilize that tax exemption, which I know is so important to the city, and that y'all lobbied very effectively, obviously, to our delegation when y'all were in town last month. The bill also increases the low-income housing tax credit by 12.5%. And I know that the city and the housing authority utilizes as well. It extends the child care tax credit. It actually increases it to $2,500 per child. And it also includes the no tax on tips, which the president has been prioritizing since the Republican convention. It is the largest cut to Medicaid in history, and there were a number of House Republicans that were very concerned about this. And they actually had to move up the work requirements. There are going to be additional ones from 2029 to 2026 to help convince some conservative Republicans who were concerned there were not enough cuts in the bill to help get their support. But a number of Senate Republicans have already voiced a concern about this, so this could possibly change. It is also the largest cut in SNAP in history and does pass on more of the cost for administering the program to state governments. I've seen in your press, the state of Colorado is concerned about that. And once again, there are about 27 states that are going to be really impacted by this. And once again, Senate Republicans, including a group of both conservative and moderate Republican senators, have voiced concerns for this. There's $140 billion for the Trump administration's border and immigration policies, as well as $150 billion for the Defense Department. And lastly, it does extend the debt ceiling. Technically, the federal government eclipses the limit at the end of last year, but right now the Treasury Department is taking extraordinary measures to put out this need. But the Treasury Secretary recently said it's going to expire in August, so they included this in the bill as well. I'll stop there because that was a lot and then go on to a couple more priorities. Does anyone have any questions on reconciliation? Because I went to highlights and we're putting together a more detailed summary for local government. That should be out next week. Sorry, Congresswoman.
Oh, thank you for
City
calling
Councilwoman.
Thank you. I'm glad you're putting me in Congress. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a compliment. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions? Councilmember Jurinsky on the summary.
Hi, Lori.
No
Thank you
questions.
for that report. I was when you're talking about the cuts in Medicare, is there going to be more details so we know? This is more administrative and operational cuts, correct?
It is. But yes, we're going to have more of a detail on that. The local government teams working with our healthcare team to put a more detailed summary on that that I will share with y'all next week.
Okay, because I think the biggest issue that people are having and a source of heartburn is they're talking about there will be cuts to actual benefits, but I
Yes.
never got the impression that that was the case. I always saw that it was going to be administration overhead, operational cuts, and really uh, duplicative efforts and other things that were wasteful in the Medicare operations. Okay.
So I think what they're concerned is that giving more of the administrative costs to the states, will the state governments then cut off, cut the benefits to their constituents? That is, I think, the concern. But we don't know that's going to happen, but that's a concern that you've heard.
Okay, but Lori, this is for Medicaid, right? I just want to make sure
It's
it's not
Medicaid.
Medicare yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Because we want to make sure. I just want to make sure that it was that, or it's not both, but it's the Medicaid program and the
It's
SNAP
Medicaid.
program. Okay, sounds good. Okay. I don't have any questions, and Councilmember Jurinsky didn't. So why don't you continue?
Okay. So Congress is also working on its appropriation bills for FY 2026. And I know y'all been lobbying for the congressionally directed spending requests, making sure the Congressman Crow and our senators include those in the bills. The deadline for those offices to submit to the committees is this weekend and next weekend. So the offices have 2 weeks to publicize what they have submitted. They all have promised to submit what they got for us last year. But as you know, we have a couple new projects that we included. So we should know within the next 2 to 3 weeks what they submitted on our behalf. The president submitted his skinny budget request, which is a very high level overview of the funding increases and funding cuts to federal agencies a couple weeks ago. So Congress has been reviewing that and bringing up the administrative heads to defend the budget and also ask more questions. So EPA, HUD has been up to the DOT have all been testifying before the appropriation committees. He is supposed to put out a more detailed budget request within the next 2 weeks. And then that way Congress will have more information on his priorities for each of the federal agencies and programs, and will begin to start drafting the appropriation bills. And then lastly, Congress is beginning to work on the Surface Transportation Authorization Bill. And I saw the recommendations, City Councilmember Lawson, that National League of Cities put forward. I thought those were great. They're partnering with the other local government groups, such as National Association of Counties and U.S. Conference of Mayors. So I think that's a good coalition. So the deadline for members is next week in the House side and in the Senate. So that they're going to start drafting text over this summer and early fall. So I'll just continue to keep you posted on that.
Okay, well, thank you, Lori, for that. That one's a big one, and that's going to be really important for transportation infrastructure projects that we're working on. So definitely, I'm glad National League of Cities, I've been on, I sit on that transportation committee, and they're really advocating for this. So for sure on that. So thank you so much for that update. Any other updates before I go to the committee members?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions or that you want to ask Lori or about her summary?
I'm
or
glad to hear that.
Follow-up.
Well, thank you, Chair. It's the transportation pieces, submitting the request for those. I'm glad to hear that we're making headway there. So thank you.
Yeah, Councilmember Jurinsky?
Nothing from me.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Lori. It's good. A lot's going to be happening throughout this year on the federal side for sure. So thank you so much for the update, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend.
You too. Have a nice long weekend.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go with our state legislative update, and we have our 3 famous people here. So I think I didn't see Totsi. So is it Peggy and Cammie today?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just have a duo today.
Okay, we got the duo. So we'll let you go ahead and start.
You bet. Well, it's lovely to see you all today. Happy Memorial Day weekend for sure. Just want to start off with a quick update from the legislative session. I think when we last met, it might have been the day before session ended or something like that. So we had a lot of bills that were still in play, still a few that the governor has not taken action on, but some of the big ones that we've been following, he has taken action on. Just want to give you an update on those. Construction defects, that it seems like we've been working on that one for a decade or two. That was signed by the governor. And as you recall, this bill, I think there's some concern that maybe it didn't go far enough to address construction defects and litigation that has really been rampant and prevented the development and building of condominiums. So, I guess we can view it as a step in the right direction. But I do think we may have to come back on this issue in the next year or two, and probably have to address more around construction defects. But we did get something over the finish line, and the governor did sign it. So hopefully that'll get the ball rolling. A couple of big vetoes that happened in the last week or two. The Labor Peace Act legislation that was going to change that, the unions brought legislation that would have eliminated the second vote that's required under Colorado law to form unions and take out dues from individual paychecks. That bill was vetoed by the governor. That was a big win for the business community in Colorado. However, it kind of sets us up for an interesting position moving forward in Colorado. I think many of the Democrats who are going to run for governor in 2026, I think we're going to see them come out in support of that bill so that they can garner that labor support in their campaigns. I think we'll see that probably in the next few months, which will be interesting in terms of going into next session if the unions wait until 2026 or if they bring their bill again next year. As you recall, this year they really weren't interested in negotiating with the business community. Both the governor and the Speaker of the House really tried to push unions and the business community to the table, and compromise wasn't reached on the bill. So we're not quite sure if the unions will bring their bill again next session, or if they will wait until the 2026 election is done and hope that they get a Democratic governor who has indicated they will support their bill. So that one's kind of up in the air. In the meantime, there's still those two ballot measures, both business and labor file ballot measures to try to push negotiations. Those are kind of hanging out there. I imagine both of them will be pulled down, but haven't gotten confirmation on that yet. So that issue will continue on and be a big political hot potato here in the next year or so. So we'll continue to watch that one as well. The other big veto that directly impacts the city was 1147. This was the bill that says municipalities can't have higher sentences than the state on certain crimes. This bill was vetoed by the governor. Again, I think we will see this bill come back next year, but hopefully there will be more of a compromise that is reached on the bill. We certainly offered alternatives and really they weren't received at all from the other side. So we'll be prepared to see that bill come back next year. And then before I hand it over to Cammie, Lori touched on the Medicaid cuts. Certainly those cuts to Medicaid are going to impact our budget here in Colorado. If those Medicaid cuts are made, which we expect that they will be, the Colorado legislature will likely be called back into a special session because we need to have a balanced budget. So we'll need to make cuts that reflect those that are made at the federal level in a special session. The timing is estimated to be at the end of summer, beginning of fall. But we will certainly keep tabs on that and keep you posted on that. We'll also see the summer and fall limited interim committees that are going to start meeting. They are limited because of the budget cuts that had to be made, but there will be some that we follow closely. One of the big ones will be that transportation committee that will continue to meet this summer and fall. So we'll keep you posted on draft legislation that comes out of that one. But I'll tag team it over to Cammie, and she's got some updates on some of the other big bills we watched.
Hi, good to see everyone. Top of the list is our vehicle registration bill 1112 has been sent to the governor. We expect it to be signed. There's no reason to believe that he will not sign it, so we're anxiously awaiting that. The governor did sign Senate Bill 62, which was failure to appear. He also signed 1171, the Palpo bill. And I know that the mayor was interested in the process of the Senate Bill 1, the voting rights bill. He did end up signing that. So that is kind of a brief overview of the bills we were closely watching on that front. Certainly happy to answer any questions on any outstanding bills. And we did provide Liz, and I believe she's distributed the end of session report, which goes into details about positions the city took, where the bills ended up, and if the city testified or participated in the process on specific bills. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I'll start with the committee members. Councilmember Hancock.
I am waiting with bated breath for the bill that I championed to be signed. I'm so excited about that. It's really, it's a no-brainer. So I'm hoping that he'll just go ahead and sign it and be done with it. But other than that, thank you, Cammie, for all your hard work. You, Liz, Tati, Peggy, you guys are rock stars. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's nice.
Councilmember Jurinsky.
Yeah, I just wanted to say on the construction defect bill, kind of like you said, Peggy, it effectively changed nothing. I spoke to several developers, and this is just a pathetic piece of legislation. So if we want to count it as a small win, fine. But every developer I've talked to has said that they still will not continue, they will not start building condominiums. So I hope that next year we can find sponsors and really go after that, because it was just an epic waste of time. They did nothing with this bill. So I hope we have that on our radar for next year.
Thank you, Councilmember Jurinsky. And I guess I'm going to take a little counter because I've been on the council for 9 years and I remember testifying, and the developers probably better than I do, and they probably won't, but I do think from what we started in 2015, at least it's something. It lays a groundwork, even though you feel like it's a pathetic piece of legislation, at least kind of lays the groundwork for us to continue the process. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you about the Yigby, Not in God's Backyard. That one failed as well.
That one, it did fail. It was continuously laid over.
Okay.
They didn't have the votes to pass it, and that in large part was due to CML's efforts. We were helpful in helping them oppose that too.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate all that you did. I hope that Councilmember Hancock can go to the bill signing. I've been to several of those over the years for certain legislation, to even go to the governor, and they have a big bill signing. So hopefully you'll get some information on that, Councilmember Hancock, because you did, yourself and the mayor and, the support of council or wherever, this was your effort. And I hope that you do go to the bill signing on that. So thank you so much for all your work. I look forward to the report. Does Liz have the report? Is she the one that's going to be forwarding that to us of the whole summary of the legislative session?
Yep, and she may still be reviewing it too.
Oh, okay.
There she
okay.
is. Ta-da!
Oh, hi, Liz. Sorry, Liz. I didn't mean to.
The report is actually in the Pfizer packet. So it's in the Pfizer packet for everyone to look at.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I kind of skimmed everything, so I've been tired lately. So, okay, thank you for that. I will review. All right. So thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you guys. If there's some things that come up from the interim committee, especially on transportation, you know, Councilmember Hancock is the chair of transportation. I sit on some transportation committees as well. So hopefully we'll keep us updated on that for sure.
You bet.
So-
Happy to. Bye, you guys. Have a great
Bye.
one.
You guys have a great holiday.
Have a
Thank
good
you so much.
weekend. Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay, we have water update. Liz, did you have anything that you wanted to report out before I move to the water? I don't know if we have a water update. It doesn't show anything, but I'm just mentioning it.
No, I just wanted to obviously thank our lobbyists and this committee. I know that this year we've had a lot of emergency positions for different things that have come up. I do think that while we've seen a lot of bills be stepping stones to bigger things, hopefully better things, into moving where we want positions and bills and legislation to be, but I think we've had a lot of successes. And just to touch on a couple other additional things, obviously construction defects and how these relate directly to the priorities that you guys approved at the beginning of the year. So one of them was reforming construction defect litigation practices. While it wasn't obviously entirely what we wanted, I do think it's a great stepping stone to come back in subsequent years to keep moving that forward. House Bill 1112, obviously a great success for the city. And a great win for us. We did have the POW bill 1171 pass, and we also had 1062 penalty for theft of a firearm, which was another priority that we had. We also were able to somewhat address the juvenile detention bed cap with additional bed allocations. Again, not, obviously exactly what we're looking for, but I think, again, a great step in the right direction and opens up that dialogue and conversation for future changes. I know I don't want to take water thunder, but we did have their backflow prevention devices requirements. Their priority got signed into law, so super excited for them. And then, of course, looking into infrastructure. We did help support 1290, the Transit Worker Assault and Funding Bill, and then we defeated the amendment in Senate Bill 161 for transit reform. So I think we've had a lot of really great successes that address a lot of our priorities this year. Maybe not like entirely, but at least in some kind of way. So yeah, just want to thank the committee for all the work that you guys do and all the emails and reading all the emails that I send.
Well, Liz, I want to thank you for definitely your leadership on this. Again, we've worked together for several years with different committee members, and I think you've done an excellent job. Even though everything is not perfect that we've done, we can continue to, move towards those efforts on those different items. But due to your leadership, I really do appreciate that. And so I just want to say that for sure. And you and I, we always communicate, but I really do appreciate it. We couldn't have done it without your leadership on that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This is all you guys, and I'm just here to as the middleman.
Well, you're kind of, you need to take the compliment because I really do.
Yeah, don't be modest. Don't be modest. You're doing a fantastic
because I
job.
really do mean it. So thank you so much. Councilmember Hancock, I don't know if you had any comments, but
I'm just saying, don't be modest, Liz. It's been a Herculean effort, and some of these things are a heavy, heavy lift. And not to mention, the organization that you did for the DC lobbying trip. I mean, this was my first year going on this trip. It was, despite me getting sick on that last day, it was still an amazing trip. I learned a lot, and I like the upfront, face-to-face interaction with our congressional delegation, which is interesting because they should see us when they come here, but I digress. It's really great to be able to have somebody down there fighting for us when we're doing other things, and to work with you and Cammie and Tati and Peggy, the way you guys interact and do this work. I mean, it's really important to advocate for the city, for our positions. And, I agree with Danielle on one hand. Construction defect law has, we're being extorted. So I think we should continue to fight to improve that construction defect. We should not give up on that because we are impeding the ability for people to own a home in our state. And it's just wrong. So I know that you're going to continue fighting on that, and just know that, we're here too to help fight in any way that we can because our future is at stake. And so for all the hard work you do, please don't be modest. I wish I could write you a check because I believe in giving people money, but I'd be just joking. I just feel like you guys have done a tremendous effort and tremendous work for our city, and we'll continue to partner and work together as we continue on Pfizer. And your leadership, Angela, has been stellar as well, so that we can continue to do the work that we should, defending our city and advocating for our city. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hancock, and I appreciate you being on this committee and you and Councilmember Jurinsky and all the input that you have provided and support as well. Okay, so after all the fuzzy stuff, let's go to our water update, Kathy.
Oh, good after, or I guess it's still morning. Good morning. And yeah, just ditto what Liz said. Thank you for all your support during the state session. And she already covered our win with the backflow bill. I do have one just informational update for you on the federal side. So in the 118th Congress, we supported the reauthorization of the Upper Colorado Endangered Fish Recovery Program, and that provides ESA compliance for our Colorado River water supplies. And I just wanted to put a reminder out there that we just continue to support the annual appropriations in line with the previous authorization and the reauthorization. And I'm always here if you want a more detailed update on that program. I can provide that to FSAR, but just wanted to let you know about the appropriation support that we do.
Okay, and thank you, Kathy. And I know during this time, even though we're going to be going monthly, and we probably might get some letters or things like that, we might have to come back and do supportive or something like that during this time. So I appreciate all your efforts as well. I look forward to the water tour that's coming up in August. So thank you for sending out that information. I have to send my RSVP in as well. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions for Kathy or anything you want her to follow up on?
No, not at this time, but I just, to your point, what you were saying, anytime I get anything unsolicited things about water, I always forward it to Marshall. And I'm like, hey, have you seen this? Do you know what this is? How should we respond? Because I know water is its own entity, and I want to make sure that we're all in alignment with that. So, and I'm also looking forward to the water tour. So thank you for all your hard work, Kathleen.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think I did see an email from you on the federal staffing, and that is something that we are watching very closely.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kathy, again. And so, of course, we don't have any more last minute state bills. We're done with that. Councilmember Hancock, do you have any last minute federal bills that maybe you've researched that you want our Liz and the delegation, Lori, to look into?
Just keeping my eye on this big, beautiful bill, seeing where that's going.
Okay.
That's the only thing my eyes on right now.
Okay, and Councilmember Hancock, I know I don't see Councilmember Jurinsky. We're going to start going monthly, so you don't have to go every 2 weeks anymore. Sometimes we might have to call something sometimes into session. It just not session, but into a meeting, depending on what's going on through these months. But from now on, we will be going monthly, and our next meeting is June 20, 2025 at 11 p.m. I mean 11 a.m., not p.m. So before we leave, is there anybody on this Zoom that would like to speak upon something? If you have some information that we may need to look, research, have Liz research. Judge Day, I see you on here. Chief Jewel, is there anything? If I don't hear anything, hi, Judge Day.
For me. Thank you.
Okay. You have anything, Judge Day?
I don't. No, just thank you all for all your hard
Amazing,
work
you don't.
this session.
I was hoping you did. No.
Nope.
But thank you, Judge Day, for all your efforts and that you went down to the Capitol. I always appreciate you, so thank you so much.
Of course.
You
Absolutely.
always do a fantastic job, so thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, with that being said, I hope everyone has a wonderful, fabulous Memorial Day weekend. I appreciate everyone coming to this meeting this morning, and everybody have a great day. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Have a good
Bye,
weekend.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.